Hey there! Wow. Oh my god. Hi. I am the ongoing and constant identity crisis that is Onision. But today's video is not about just me, it's about my parents. Not too long ago, I told you guys that I was no longer going to talk to my mom or dad because I was beaten with a fire extinguisher as a kid. One of many things. But before I get into that, I want to replay a video that you guys, some of you have seen before. However, it's been pulled from YouTube, so I want to kind of like put it in this video. So, you know, it continues to have a public presence, but isn't a standalone video. So if you've already seen it, just skip ahead and I'll talk about how things are going now that I've disconnected. I know a lot of you guys have issues with your parents, as you should, because parents are scumbags. Anyway, just jump ahead to the minute mark of
5 minutes, 30 seconds.
You'll see the continuation of this video.
Let me tell you who I am. I'm a child of parents who do not love me. My father molested my own family members. My father lied about why we fist fought, not disclosing that he attacked me first to save his reputation. My father let the police haul me away when he could have taken my place. He lied to my face about what he did while I was locked away. And when I proved his lie, he changed his story. He has lied to me so many times, I have no true idea of who he even is. I have not spoken to him in nearly 15 years. My mother beat me as a child, attacked me with a fire extinguisher, attacked me with a massive flashlight, smacked me in the face, and beat me with a belt. My mother lied to my face about her drug use, and lied to people close to me just like my father, to save herself and make me look worse. My mother told me she would not date a man who ever had sex with another man. My mother called my spouse a tranny. The man she invited into our lives, my stepfather, had us pray as children to the TV saying, "I love you, Satan." The same man used drugs around us as kids. This according to my mom's own admission. Only weeks ago, my mother said she could sue me for protecting my own family from her. Years ago, before I lost most everything I had, I gave her a $200,000 house. Even after this and the other things I haven't shared, I want her to still have my gift. I want her to keep the countless other things I gave her, amounting to tens of thousands of dollars as well. But I can't do this anymore. To my parents, love is not telling your kid you could sue them when they have done nothing wrong but protect their loved ones. Love is not watching the police take your child away when you should be in their place. Love is not beating your child. Love is not lying to or about your child. Love is not molesting your child or their family. Love is not repeatedly putting yourself before your child, no matter how much damage you've done. To my parents, you raised me to be just like you because you only love yourselves. You missed the point of parenthood entirely. Your kids are not meant to grow up to be like you. They are meant to be better than you. Your kids are not here to worship you. As a father, I know I am here to worship them. Your kids are not here to make you happy. As a father, I know I am only here to make them happy. Your kids are not here to be beaten by you. They are here to be protected by and from you. So let me tell you who I am. I am a child of parents who do not love me. I am cold, with no love from my parents to warm me. I was raised with poor and mostly absent father figures. My home was broken. I am broken. My heart is torn. My eyes are soiled with tears and my mind lost to the open and black absence of meaning. All that is left is the hope that I can be everything my parents are not. That I will always tell the truth to my kids. That I will never raise a hand against my kids. That I will always be the one who takes any bullet heading their way. That I will live my life drug-free, leading by example for my kids. That I will say I'm sorry when I am wrong. That when they are weak, I will be strong. So let me tell you who I am. I'm a child of parents who do not love me. But I am also a parent who will never stop loving my children. And I know this is true because my happiness does not compare to the happiness I want for them. Punch me and I'll ask you if your hand is okay. Yell at me and I'll say I'm sorry for hurting your voice. Need me and I'm there, but even when I'm away, I'll always remain. Because a true father is a servant and a protector. And their offspring are perfect, no matter what they become.
Okay, so I actually haven't talked to my dad since I was 19 years old. We originally got in a fist fight when I was 15, and then we kind of just like had a little bit of silence there for a while. But eventually I called him up and I said, you know what, do not contact me unless I contact you first. And he didn't listen. He tried to contact me anyway, and that was kind of annoying, but you know, all in all, it's died down. And some people out there actually want to spread the message that my father is a good person, like he's this person that is misunderstood and has been falsely accused and so forth. And it's really kind of like amazing that people would even come to that conclusion considering they don't even know. Like, it's one thing to personally know someone and that they're guilty of something. It's another to not know someone and then insist that they're innocent despite the fact that you don't know any of the facts of the actual situation other than what one side has said that you're arguing with, despite on your part there being no real room to argue. It's kind of like if you had a problem with your dad and I said, oh, how dare you, your dad's a saint, he's a great person. And you're just a liar about your dad, of course, because I know nothing about him. Just because you don't like someone doesn't make everyone that they encounter in a bad way good. And just because you like someone doesn't mean they're automatically innocent of all horrible things. Kind of like how a lot of people like Trump. No, but I've also not been talking to my mom, and I don't regret that decision because my life has been a lot more chill since then. The way conversations with my mom would often work is like, my mom would say, my mom would literally say this. She would go, there's this man at work, he's really attractive, and he wants to go out with me. He's much younger than me. He wants to go out with me, but I don't want to go out with him because he's had sex with men before. And I'm like, okay, mom, that's incredibly homophobic. And then my mom immediately goes, oh, how could you? You're cruel. How could you say that to me? I'm not homophobic, and goes on this whole thing about how I'm a bad guy for criticizing her being unwilling to date people who have had sex with men before. And you might say there's an argument that, okay, so gay men do statistically have a higher chance of having certain transmitted diseases, right? Statistically. It's not an opinion, it's a fact. And this includes bi men, of course, like this guy in this situation is bi. But why wouldn't you just move to treat them like everyone else and say, hey, before we get involved, I want you to get tested. And I'll get tested too. Let's both get tested, you know, to be safe. But no, my mom actually said that she's straight up unwilling, you know, even if you got tested, unwilling. And it's like, bro, if you know you're safe, right? If you know you're not gonna get a disease from this person, then what is the risk? It doesn't really make sense, does it? At all. And so all you really have left there is homophobia. In addition to this, when I revealed to my mom that my spouse was trans, she goes, oh what? So Laney's a tranny? And it was like, Mom, you can't say that. You can't say that about humans. You can't call them a tranny if you want to be a normal, functional member of society, because that's like calling, you know, a gay person the F word. You just don't do that. And my mom considers me a social justice warrior as a result. Like, you're not allowed to be sensitive about anyone's feelings unless they're the feelings of the person who's being intolerant of other people's feelings. Like, I've been called cruel so many times by my mom. Even after she said that she could sue me, I was called cruel. And I just can't comprehend how I personally or anyone could ever say, you know what, person that I gave life to, the person I brought into this world and have raised since a child, I could sue you. It's like, you know, Mom, maybe that time that you attacked me with a flashlight, when you assaulted me with a flashlight, maybe that time you attacked me with a fire extinguisher, like gassed me out of my room with a fire extinguisher, maybe that time you were laughing at me when I was crying, maybe that time you smacked me in the face, or the many times you beat me with a belt as a kid, maybe any of those times, you know, I could actually have grounds to be a little upset at you. Like, my mom was saying that I literally didn't allow them to see their grandkids, and I said you could literally visit your grandkids at any time. They still can. It's totally fine. They just can't take kids off on their own because I don't trust them. because they do drugs. You know, it's kind of like if somebody's like an alcoholic or somebody constantly smokes cigarettes. You don't want them to be around children alone for pretty much any amount of time because you know that kids are going to get secondhand smoke or they're going to experience you being an outraged drunk. So you're trying to have the best interest of kids in your mind, right? Well, some people just see that as cruel. They say, oh, well, I can only see kids when I'm around other adults. That's not acceptable. I need to have these kids that I never ever visit, that I don't even show up to the birthday parties of. I mean, it's so mind-blowing. And I know that these kinds of videos, they're so personal and they just aren't comfortable to share, but I also see your guys' responses. I see you guys writing me and telling me thank you for sharing my story and that they have parents who do similar things and that they're just as conflicted and their life is just as crazy because of all the things that their parents did to them as kids. And so I just want to remind you guys that you're not alone and that since I've decided to stop associating with people who regularly play victim, who regularly say, well, even though Greg, when you were rich, you gave me an entire house, you've given me tens of thousands of dollars worth of free stuff just to make my life better, I'm still gonna act like out of my 3 kids, you are the worst. You're just the absolute worst because you simply will not allow me to be homophobic. You will not allow me to be transphobic. You will not allow me to be alone with kids when I beat you as a child myself. Like, I'm so glad in a way that I understand what it's like to be a child of someone like that, so I can be sure that I'll never let myself become that. It's an ugly, ugly thing to beat your children, especially when there's this little thing called timeouts. You know, it's like, utilize non-violent things. Don't yell at your kids when they yell. Don't hit your kids when they hit. Lead by example. Be the better person all the time. And so they will be better than even you. Anyway, thanks for watching this, guys. I hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you so much. Also, we're now doing podcasts on Patreon. I'm also doing an anime viewing party this month, and we're having weekly Discords. I think it's actually bi-weekly, maybe. It's bi-weekly connections. So I hope you join my Patreon, patreon.com/Onision. It's a big deal. We're a special community there. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.